Hello, primates. You found Primus Tracks. Congratulations. I am Josh. Today we are talking to Carla Freestep, known to many in the Primus world as Lupin. You can find her shots of Primus and related bands at wildlupin.com. If you see something you like, send her an email about a print and support the people who have brought you incredible concert imagery over the years. I have known Carla for quite a while now, and it was a pleasure to go in depth on the topic of Primus and Les Claypool, as we usually just admire one another's collections of animals. So, enjoy today's conversation. Wildlupin.com, at Primus Tracks on Instagram and Twitter, all that good stuff. Here we go.
Like I said, I have no idea how many shows I've shot, but the first few times I saw Primus, I didn't shoot. I just was drunk. And awesome. The first few Primus shows that I saw, well, they played in Chico, California, a few times. And I know I went to at least a couple shows, but I can't remember them because at that time I had just turned 21. So I was a little bit three sheets to the wind.
Did you go to college in Chico? Is that what's going on?
I did.
Because Victim's Family, we used to play at the Burrow Room with like Blue Chunks. And
I could have seen you there.
High Cone and stuff. Yeah.
Like during that era, I don't remember much because I don't have photographs of the era.
Right. But you know the place, right? Juanita's with the Burrow Room in the back.
Yeah, I pretty much lived at Juanita's, or it was called Hey Juan's before that.
Okay. When I played there, it was the Burrow Room was the gig.
The Burrow Room, yeah. I pretty much lived there when I was like 20, 21.
I might have been 50 then. You never know.
Yeah, so I saw a lot of bands there, but I don't remember them because at that point I wasn't taking photographs. When I started taking photographs was about 2000. I mean, before that I was using my little point and shoot. And I didn't get a real camera until about 2000.
2000? That fast forward to 2003 and 4, man, you're all over it. So it didn't take long.
Well, I have been shooting since I was in high school.
Okay.
And back then, of course, it was film and darkroom. And I did a few local shows, but, I was shooting black and white. We had to push film. Film was, totally different than digital is today. So I would shoot and then hope for the best. And when I got my photos back, it was like Easter morning,
Yeah,
it's like, oh, yay, I got something. I first got involved with this whole group probably 1997 was when I saw Laundry.
Okay.
They played in Chico.
Right on.
Nice.
And I was, of course, in love with Tim Alexander's drumming.
Yeah.
I took pictures with my point and shoot. Okay. And they're not very good, but they're out there on the internet. I got to talk to Tim for a little bit after the shows, and, he was totally cool. And then I started shooting bands like Merv and
Keo Nation.
And then I got, so I can't remember which show it was that I actually met Les, but it was a show I think at the Phoenix Theater in Petaluma.
Okay. The good old Phoenix, Josh.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Legend.
And Merv was playing, and those guys introduced me to Les for the first time. I'd like talked to him before and stuff.
Yeah.
Was that the Holy Mackerel show maybe? Holy Mackerel and Merv show at the Phoenix, maybe? Which would have been 2000.
It could have been. Yeah, it's a long time ago. So, but anyway, the Merv guys introduced me to Les, and the rest is history.
So tell me this. I have a question. Listening to your history of that, what did you hear first, Primus or Laundry? Was that the hook that got you into the world of Primus, or did you know Primus?
Well, no, I always loved Primus.
Okay.
I always loved Primus ever since the beginning. I just didn't start shooting them until later on. Right on. And I think the first Primus show that I saw sober was in Salem, Oregon. It was, I think the Melvins opened.
Oh, wow.
And Merv might have opened. But this was like 93.
That's amazing. So you were into Primus at what era would that be? Like Seas of Cheese, or? It's important for me to know where you came into the Primus world. You know?
Well, I first started listening around 90.
Okay, so seeds of cheese, frizzle fry, seeds of cheese.
Yeah. Frizzle fry, yeah.
Right in there.
Oh, okay, cool. So did you see shows back then?
I did, but I don't remember them because I was 21 and I had just.
You were throwing up in the parking lot and actually never went into the gig, right?
I remember the music. I just don't remember much about anything else. And I didn't have a camera then. So, I had a camera, but it wasn't useful. And I didn't start shooting professionally until about 2000.
Okay.
And that was when the Frog Brigade was starting up.
Yeah.
Like Primus had just broken up and I was mad about that. But then the Frog Brigade started happening and that's kind of where I kept my teeth on the whole Claypool thing.
Mm-hmm. And now, how were you getting down there to take photographs? Were you getting a pass from a local media organization, or did somebody just say, come on down and take some pictures?
And, I don't remember. I just remember bringing my camera. Some places were allowing cameras and some places weren't. And when they weren't, I emailed somebody and said, hey, I'm a photographer. I'd really like to shoot these shows. I'm not going to charge anything unless you want to use the photos. So that seemed to work.
I think the key words were, I'm not going to charge anything. That really gets people's attention in the industry.
Yes.
Yeah. I'm not going to talk to Les or approach him. Yeah. I just want to take pictures.
That was pretty much it. And then, later on they did pay me for some photos, but it was never like the way I work. I shoot bands that I like and it's fun for me. And so I don't say, hey, I'm going to come out and shoot your show and I'm going to charge you so much money for doing it. I just said, hey, I'm going to come out and shoot your show. I'm going to be there anyway. If you like them and you want to use them, talk to me.
Yeah.
And
it's really amazing over my 30 years of doing this stuff, and you get with these big bands and they get a personal relationship with photographers,
Yes.
And they request them. Obviously Jay Blakesberg is the Bay Area dude that's in our circle. But I mean, there's other dudes around that when we're like, say we're in London, it'll be like, all right, get Ross Halfin. Because they're buddies, they've been out drinking and they love his photos. He's professional and just to be a photographer, your thumbprint as a photographer is important to the bands, and they request certain photographers, it's really cool.
Yeah. And photographers are, kind of a strange breed in that we're there to record history and listen to the music at the same time. For me, it's hard to listen to the music while I'm shooting. Yeah. Because I'm concentrating so hard on shooting that I feel like I miss a little bit. But overall, the experience is so amazing. Yeah. And that's why I've stuck with it for so long.
Carla, there's something very peculiar about your concert photography. And that thing is that you don't limit the experience to just the band. I've noticed that for many of the concerts you've attended, you also take pictures of the audience before and after the show. So how did you come up with that concept of also capturing, the audience at the shows?
Well, that was easy because Primus fans are pretty excited about being there. And I know a lot of Primus fans just from, everywhere. And they love to have their pictures taken. And the audience is a big part of the show.
Yeah. It's the same as Jay Blakesberg with his photos of spinners and parking lot photos. I mean, it's great that he captured all that, because
that's a huge part of the whole.
If somebody didn't photograph it and you just said, dude, remember in the parking lot? No. It's like, well, here's a book that Jay Blakesberg put out and it's got all the pictures,
Yeah.
And all the pictures and interactions with Primus fans is equally the same to me as with that Grateful Dead movement, I mean, those fans are passionate about Primus, or the
they
fans
really
are. It's amazing, I'm amazed every time I'm working a Primus gig or any side shoot gig. The passion of the fans is amazing, and to be that you photograph that is awesome,
Well, it's great to see, and other people want to see it, and people have gotten in touch with me because I took a picture of them. At the Primus show.
And Les might see it one day.
Right. And so, it's always exciting to see other people excited about what's going on.
Right.
That really shows the life of the show, and I'm curious because you have seen, being where you live and where you've been working and with the bands you've worked with. I was going to say laundry list, but that's a stupid pun. But it really is. There are so many bands you've worked with that are in the Primus universe or related to it somehow. Does that transfer over with Frog Brigade, Born Naked, Merv, Limbo Maniacs, all these different things? Or all
Pop
these different
Rockers.
Bands?
Come on now.
Wingnut, all those guys.
Yes. Kehoe Nation.
Oh, Kehoe Nation crowds have to be insane.
And Kehoe Nation, definitely.
Yeah.
Merv and those little clubs and so on.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the fans that I see at the shows that I shoot are always way into it.
Yeah.
And I don't know if that's because of the bands that I shoot or just because of the people that are there or what, but it's always a good thing to capture that energy in the audience.
Okay.
Because, that's what I'm sure that's what the musicians feed off of too.
Yeah. That shot of that moon-eyed kid in the front row with his jaw dropping because he's so into the show. That's Frankie every time, by the way.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter.
Well, I love those shots.
I have 3 pairs of Frankie's underwear that he threw on stage over the years.
In a shadow box. It's very tastefully done.
He's that dude. Tom Jones type stuff, throwing underwear at Les, and I have to pick him up and get him in the garbage can.
I have to say, of all the shows I've been to, I don't think I've ever seen a pair of underwear land on the stage. I might have seen a bra land on the stage.
I've seen a wife beater land on stage.
That's a Primus.
I've seen a lot of things land on the stage other than underwear.
Yeah.
Well, Carla, I have not seen any of your recent photos. I don't know if you're doing much. I mean, obviously not in this last year, but
yeah.
A couple of years ago, in the last couple of years, I haven't seen what you've been doing lately.
Well, I've been terrible about keeping my website up to date. I have no excuse really for not updating my website.
Right.
But I've shot a lot of shows. I was the house shooter for Sierra Nevada Brewing Company. They have a venue called the Big Room.
Uh-huh.
So I worked for them for a little while, and those shots are up there. That was a couple of years ago. It wasn't really my thing. Even though I got paid for it, my favorite thing is seeing bands that I like. And, I didn't know all the bands that were coming to the Big Room, and some of them I really enjoyed, and others were like, whatever, I've got a job to do. But, my real passion is just shooting people that I like and music that I like.
Well, that brings up a point that Jay Blakesberg and Elizabeth Gore had brought up in previous conversations with us around if you know the band and their music, you can really frame your shots appropriately and the moments to capture, it seems. So can you talk about that bit?
You can definitely, if you've been to a lot of shows, you can definitely anticipate what's going to happen. I can usually tell when Les is about to stomp. So I just try to keep on my toes and, capture the moments as they come. But, it's always a challenge with Primus, especially because Les hates light.
I was going to ask you about the lighting. Yeah.
Well, I'm going to build on what Josh is saying to you, Carla. As a photographer coming in and say you're photographing live some band, you never heard them and you got hired by somebody and you go, okay, there's that dude, there's that dude, there's that dude. And you take the photos. And it's like, but if you go to a Primus show and it's your, say, 25th time you've photographed Primus and you're a fan, you know exactly when to capture that moment.
Definitely makes
tapping the fretboard, or he's going to look this way and you're going to get a good shot.
Yeah.
And you build your portfolio of Les of knowing exactly what he's going to do. And I've seen your photos and I see that in it, because you're a fan of Primus,
Yeah. Well, and it's funny because sometimes when I take pictures of Les, I'm like, oh, there's another picture of Les doing his thing. Oh, there's another picture of Les doing his thing. Yeah. And it's like sometimes I look at my photos and I think I've caught Les doing the same thing a gazillion times. And is this going to stay relevant?
And it is, because his beard's a little different. in that photo.
His hair and his hat and, whatever he's wearing and, and whoever he's playing with, because he plays with great people. I got to shoot him with the Frog Brigade playing with Adrian Belew.
Right.
Oh, man. I wish I was there for that one. I missed that.
That was an awesome show. I had so much fun at that show. That was in like Columbus, Ohio or some place like that. Wow. And it was, I was shooting film at that point. Yeah. And so I've got a whole bunch of shots that are all on negatives sitting in my binder of negatives.
Yeah.
And, I love film, but I'm really happy to have digital because, it's just way easier.
Yeah.
Of course.
That
it's like recording now.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Put up mics and it goes right to your hard drive. Done. Mix it. Put it in Logic. You don't have to deal with a tape machine and people to process it to finalize it.
Oh my God. I mean, it just takes a whole chunk out of the mix and you have, instant gratification. Like you can take a shot, look at it and go, okay, that's good. Or, okay, I need to fuss with this a little bit and make it better.
It's very interesting that when you started, there was no digital photography yet, and
there wasn't really.
To be able to take pictures of 10, 12 rolls of film and then go home and hope that you got something and then develop it and then look and go, what a waste of time and money.
You could,
because they all suck,
Sometimes.
They're terrible.
Sometimes that happens.
Or when you're sitting there and just take 5,000 pictures and just go to the digital file and go, that one's good, and then throw everything else away,
Yeah, right. Right.
So
but when I was shooting film, it was interesting because I would shoot half a roll of film and then wind it back up and put it away. Mm-hmm. If I wanted to shoot between black and white and color or whatever. And then I would take the film back out, reload it, and sometimes I would accidentally take double exposures.
Oh, yeah.
Which are awesome when you find them.
Yeah, and some of them actually turned out really trippy.
Yeah, totally. I love those.
Cool. But, you don't have to worry about that with digital. You just, have to worry about your lenses and your camera body and where you are and, your stability with your hands and your eyes and your body. Yeah. And it's hard sometimes with live shows because, with Primus, there's people crowd surfing over your head.
Right.
And I've been kicked in the head a few times. So I have to keep looking back, while I'm trying to look forward, shooting something, I have to also kind of keep an eye on my back to make sure that I'm not going to get kicked in the head.
Yeah.
By the meatheads. Right.
Yep. We've talked about that.
But I mean, it's great. That's part of the excitement, It's just it keeps you young.
In previous conversations with other photographers, they've mentioned that you get your songs, but you have to pick your spot. Do you only get a few songs per show that you go to, or especially in the early 2000s with Les and Company and all these guys, and then into the Fromage tour, which I definitely want to hear about. Did you just have free reign?
Well, when I shot the Frog Brigade, I had pretty much free reign. Okay. And I went on a short tour with them through the Midwest and the East Coast. And I could pretty much shoot the whole time. And that was awesome.
Yeah.
With Primus, it's, and most bands, it's the first three shots, the first three songs.
Yeah.
And then you have to get out of the pit. And then, you can shoot from wherever from there. But you only get 3 songs in the pit.
Yeah.
And so then it's kind of you're dodging other photographers and you're trying to get the shots as quick as you can and move. And, I can, within the pit, you can move from side to side. But, you got to watch out for other people and, watch out for the boots coming over your head and just basically being good to the other photographers and the people in the audience behind you because, they don't really want somebody to be in front of them while they're trying to see a show.
Right.
So you have to be cognizant of that too.
Yeah.
So did you, on a Frog Brigade run, you were the photographer 24/7? You were on the tour? Were able to photo the guys all day?
Well, not all day, but during the shows for sure, before and after the shows for sure. Well, I did spend a lot of time with the bands that were touring with them, which was Deadweight.
Right. Oh, I love Deadweight.
Love Deadweight. Miss them.
Right on.
In fact, one of the first times I saw Les not playing was at a Deadweight show at Slim's in like 2001. Right. And Deadweight was playing. I had seen them a few times before and I was there to shoot them. And Les showed up and, I said hi to him and he was like, I was like, have you seen Deadweight before? And he said, no. And I said, they're going to blow your mind. You're going to love them. And he says, oh, cool. And then the rest is history. Oh, it's so much fun to do that. But it's also kind of weird because, nobody likes a lens sticking in their face all the time.
Yeah. But it's necessary to capture it. It
is, yes. But we got a lot of B-roll, as they say.
Yep.
A lot of those camera shots that I did not share. There's a few that
Frankie naked out back doing anything to get an autograph, right?
So no, I took a lot of photos of Tim when we were hanging out when he was playing with Born Naked as a guitarist.
Right. Yep. But Goob was the guitarist.
Yeah, that was 2002, I think. And I took a lot of just casual shots of people hanging out and doing stuff. And a lot of those shots, Tim Alexander told me not to post them, so I didn't.
There you go.
Carla, I'm curious about a photo in particular. The front cover for Hallucinogenetics, both on CD jewel case and on DVD. The thing is that, that's like the final show of the tour in Chicago, but the picture is actually filed at Radio City Music Hall in your website. So I was wondering why they went with that picture for the cover, besides it being a great photo.
Well, I think that photo might have been taken somewhere other than Chicago. Mm-hmm. I was on tour with them for that tour, and I can't remember which shot came from what venue. It might have even been Montreal.
All right. You got it in your website? You got it posted on Radio City Music Hall in New York.
So it's NYC.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's quite possible. I think they just looked at all the pictures that I took of that tour and they picked the one they liked the best and decided to use it, even though it wasn't the Chicago show photo. I think they just liked that photo, and the photos in the insert were photos from all kinds of places on that tour.
It's a really amazing photo because, you caught each band member striking a really cool pose, and then the weather balloons, each one have, a visual from, a hardcore fan can tell right away that they were playing Sgt. Baker when you took the shot. So it's a really fantastic image. But am I right in thinking that they also use some of your photos for the digital artwork for the soundboard recordings of the tour?
They did. Primus Live, I think, was the recordings, and then I had some of my photographs for the artwork that was downloadable with those shows. I don't even know which ones they used anymore. I mean, it's been 18 years.
It's been a while.
They used quite a bit, but the cool thing for me is that not all of the pictures that they used show like a full photo of a band member. Actually, some of them are close-ups of their hands playing on the instruments. Some of them are, like blurry shots, and you can just about make out the figure of the person, but they are really cool. I think they add, a pretty cool mystique to the shows.
Thank you. Some of their favorite shots are shots where you can't really see the face. You just see a silhouette, which is, since they use a lot of backlighting in their shows, it's sometimes hard to get a good shot of their faces. And sometimes all I get is a silhouette, but sometimes it turns out really cool. So it's, it's funny because they seem a little bit, I don't want to say shy, but, it seems like they enjoy the photos that don't show detail.
Yeah.
Which is, exactly what I'm trying to get is detail.
Right. Yeah.
And, but that's why it's challenging, is because the lighting doesn't really allow for a lot of close-up detail. And, some of the shots are a little bit blurry. There's some motion blur.
Yeah.
Which is
cool.
Shows the energy. It's what they like and what the fans like are sometimes two different things. I've sold photos to fans, and the photos that they like are generally not the ones that the band chooses to use, which is funny.
Right.
Yeah.
When like Frankie's licking Les Claypool's ear hole, during the show.
Shots that I thought weren't that great. Fans love.
Yeah, I mean,
so
cool candid shots like go across the board. Certain people like certain stuff, and you can have a palette or a folder of photos and show up at a Primus show. I bet you would sell the stuff you thought nobody would ever want, because fans want to see those candid moments or that certain shot you took that wasn't the perfect shot of Les Claypool doing Jerry was a race car driver tapping on the fretboard. It's like Les like laughing and looking at Herb or something,
Right.
And you capture the moment. I mean, that's the cool stuff that I look for when I buy photos,
Well, it's all about the energy, really. I mean, sharp photos are great, but it's not always the goal. Yeah. Sometimes it's just capturing the energy and the personality and the music in a visual, which is challenging to do. But most Primus fans, when they look at my photos, they can see what the song is being played.
Yeah.
But I mean, even you as a professional photographer, like on, say, 8 shows in a row that you're shooting on a tour, you start to get the nuances of what the band does, and you get the vibe, and not just like I'm in the audience and here I get what I get for this one moment. And you start going, okay, now I know what moments I'm going to hit something. I'm going to hit the shutter, like blast on this part, because I know it's going to be funny when Les makes a face on that one. You know what I mean? It's like,
right. Yeah. You can anticipate when you're familiar with the band. And that's why I like shooting bands that I know, as opposed to, being paid to just go out and shoot, some band I never heard of. Being paid is great, but if I don't know the band, then I'm just kind of winging it. With a band that I know, I'm pretty, I can anticipate it. And in some ways it's easier if you know the people.
Yeah, that totally
Carla,
makes sense.
I'm also curious about a particular show, because, Hallucinogenetics was over, but Les Claypool didn't stand still. Like, he went on to do Bucket of Burning Brains, and you were out on the road again, taking pictures during that tour. And there's a particular show that looks amazing based on the photos on your website. This is Slim's in San Francisco.
Oh, yeah.
Incredible photos. But
I actually used flash on that shoot, which Les Claypool hates.
Yeah.
But I was able to use it in a creative way on that shoot.
Like a tiny venue, it's packed.
Yeah,
that's Slim's.
Slim's was not a big venue.
Yeah, it's like 400
it was
people
always
in that
packed,
place.
and it was full of posts that you couldn't see through, and so I had to get up. In fact, I think I might have climbed up a ladder to get some of those shots.
Nice. Look at all those shots of the crowd.
I think I did, actually. I remember now. I remember climbing up on something side stage to get the shots, and then, one of the security guys was like, get the hell down. So I did.
What was it like photographing Bucket of Burning Brains right after Primus? I mean, what was the contrast for you?
Well, Buckethead is pretty amazing and a pretty compelling figure. So I was kind of more concentrating on him and his hands. His hands are like freakish.
His fingers are 8 inches long. You know that, right?
Each finger is like 8 inches long, and
it's like it's like mine are this long, his are this long.
Or his fingers are literally that long.
I was kind of entranced with that, and so I focused a lot on that. And like I said, with Les, it's like I've taken so many pictures of Les. I'm like, I can get a picture of Les right here, but I think I already got that one. I think I'll go to somebody else that I haven't really shot yet, and that was really fun. It's just always really fun. And
you got a lot of different costumes to photograph with Les that time too. So if you did turn around and look at him, you went, that's a new one. The onesie and the other stuff he was running around with.
The different hats and, the different costumes are always exciting. Yeah. And the hands, we were going back to the hands. Les's hands are, they look like wax hands. They look like doll hands. They're so
right there. Yeah.
In fact, you would expect him to be really calloused and rough. With, but his hands are just like they're just so soft and smooth looking that when when he's playing, I had to just focus on that too.
Okay.
He has mentioned in interviews that he dips his hands in jars of mayonnaise.
I would believe that.
Okay, I have no comment on any of this topic right now. Well, I'm not going to divulge any secret.
No, there's got to be some kind of secret because
he definitely does something to keep his hands soft and supple.
Yeah, we went golfing in the daytimes, and we golfed. He wore a glove when he hit the driver. That's all I can tell you.
And part of the reason that a lot of fans say he doesn't want to shake hands with fans is because he's about somebody getting overexcited and shaking his hand like really hard and crushing his fingers.
Mm-hmm. So that has happened a few times, Carla, over the years. He does the potato. He says potato and he bumps his fist. He does not want anybody squeezing his hand.
Oh.
No. And, he should not have somebody squeezing his hands because that's his livelihood.
Yeah. Carla, I thought you were building to that he doesn't let people shake his hands because they will just be so overwhelmed by the softness of his hands that they won't let go.
Yeah, that could be too. They might just go, oh my God.
And just start feeling hilarious. Them, caressing them. Oh, that's beautiful. What do you use? Yes.
The manager for Primus had the softest hands in rock and roll, David Lefkowitz.
Did he?
Oh, did he? Well, I've shaken his hand before, but I didn't take pictures of his hands, so I didn't notice.
I wish I had taken pictures of the moments that we're speaking of in the histories of the bands you work for. David Lefkowitz's hands. I got a photo of that.
The hands of the manager. Wow. Yeah.
Lefkowitz.
He's a great dude, man. He's a good friend of mine. I'm not dissing him at all.
He moved to New York or something?
He's in Philadelphia right now.
Philadelphia. Okay. Yeah. I knew he moved. I haven't seen him for a while. He's just the nicest guy ever.
Yeah. I talk to him now and again, of course. Man,
good.
We're good pals since the early 90s, of course.
Well, say hello to him next time you talk.
I will.
To him.
Yeah.
Nice.
Carla, can I ask you what it was like photographing Primus at the Greek Theater? Because the pictures look absolutely amazing.
Oh, thank you. The Greek Theater is actually really hard because the stage is really high. And when you're in the pit right in front of the stage, you're looking like straight up with your camera and trying to get, and some people have poles that they, can affix the camera to a pole and then hold it up over the stage. And I didn't have that. So that was hard. But then when I moved up to the sound booth, I got some great shots from there.
Is that the cover image on your website too?
That's the one.
That's at the Greek
It
Theater.
Is, yeah. That
skirt.
Picture of me, that is the Greek Theater, yeah.
I think you're wearing a kilt or something.
The Utila kilt.
Oh, yeah. I'm always wearing kilts.
Yeah.
Kilts are great.
Carla tried to talk me into
for lenses and batteries and whatever you need.
There was a time you were trying to talk me into getting one, and I never pulled the trigger. And I need one. I know now that I should have bought one years ago. For the free.
Well, you can still buy one. I actually told Les one time that he should wear a kilt on stage, and he was like, no, Korn did that, and that's just
David Byrne has also done it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But, you have to do it in your Les Claypool voice, though.
Very utilitarian garments.
The first run of the Punch Bowl tour in Europe, Korn opened up that when they were just a new band.
Mm-hmm.
And singer dude came out with the kilt at the end and played the bagpipes.
Right.
And they were playing new metal with bagpipe dude. We were like,
so did it work or?
I don't know. Man. I don't know. I was so busy
love
working.
Bagpipes, and I love kilts. So I would probably be just like, oh my God. But
new metal and kilts didn't work for me. Is all I got to say.
Gotcha.
You were present at Davis 2003. That's actually, it's not the first real show of the Fromage Tour, but at least it's the first one that got recorded because Les didn't allow the first day to be recorded, to be released on the soundboards. But Davis is an infamous show because setlist-wise, it's amazing, but Les was sick that night, and that had a direct impact on the setlist. But you were there, so do you have any memories of that really amazing show?
Of that particular show? No. There've been so many that there's very few that I actually particularly remember. The ones that I remember are like the Greek Theater. I remember Chicago really well. And the Frog Brigade shows, I remember most of those pretty well.
Where was the Chicago show at? Been there and worked there and seen shows there and did.
Aragon Ballroom.
The Aragon Ballroom.
Yes.
That place is amazing.
Yeah, that's what it was. The Aragon.
Yeah. Last time I was there, I did 2 Ween shows working for Ween.
Oh, nice.
Funny.
You've had all these experiences, and it's touring with them is kind of cool. Just getting in your van or whatever and running around with them, hanging out at the shows and going to see other artists, and so you did that for a while. Not drop off, but did you just kind of walk away and say, okay, I'm going to stay in California at that point, or how'd that work out for you?
Life changes.
Yeah.
I had a fire in 2010, which burnt down my shop on my property.
Right. That's right.
That pretty much set me back a few years. Once I was insured, but I had to pay a lot out of pocket to do the rebuild. That took up most of my discretionary income.
Right. Yeah.
And I remember that. So it was that from then on, it was kind of like here and there. And I couldn't really afford to go on tour. Mm-hmm. So I just did like local show. Well, local, I mean, I have to drive to San Francisco to see a show usually, which is about 150 miles from where I live. So it was always requiring travel and, probably a hotel stay. And at that point, I just couldn't afford to go on tour. I'm hoping that maybe someday I can afford to do it again.
Yeah.
Rock and roll is coming back, man.
It's coming back in a big way. I know there's going to be more shows coming up. There's Primus dates booked for 2021. I don't know if they're actually going to happen, but I'm excited and hopeful.
Well, I'll briefly share a couple experiences that Carla and I had. I think the first couple of times we actually got to hang out was 2010, right around that time.
Yeah.
And
it was at Vegas, right?
The first one was Vegas, and I was living on the cheap at that time, and I thought, okay, I'm only going to be in Vegas for 56 hours or so. I'm not going to sleep the whole time, so I don't have to get a hotel room. And I was doing really good. I
remember that.
Yeah, I was doing really good, and then I just the night of the show, it started at midnight. I'm bouncing around having a grand old time. We're hanging out, doing whatever, and then the show's over, and I'm like, holy shit, I'm wiped. And you were nice enough to let me crash in your hotel room, which you probably shouldn't have done.
We had a really nice hotel room there in Vegas, and like 2 beds and a little kitchenette. This was kind of like a suite. Yeah, that worked out really good.
Yeah.
I remember.
Was it at the Platinum?
I don't remember. Josh, do you remember?
No, I was nearly insane at that point from lack of sleep. And
I remember you said you weren't going to sleep. And I was like, oh yeah, that's going to work.
It's totally okay to just dive in a bush and sleep in Vegas for like 6 hours till you get to
Vegas,
your cab to the airport.
We provided Josh with a soft place to lay his head, which was probably a good thing.
It was super kind of you, and I do appreciate it to this day because I didn't know what I was going to do. I was like, my flight's
Josh, now that we're talking about that, I remember a long time ago when, I don't know, you were 18 or something and you lived in Iowa?
Yeah.
And I was trying to get you to come to a Frog Brigade show. Do you remember that?
Yes. It probably was on that Midwest run because it wouldn't have been probably Chicago.
Yeah. I was trying to get you to come to that.
Yeah.
And you didn't.
No. Josh denied going to
Frog Brigade show? I don't know why I couldn't go.
Frankie, are you hearing this?
Yeah.
I probably had to work.
Yeah. I really tried to talk him into it, and he was like, just this close. But then he didn't go. And I'm sorry about that, Josh.
No, that would have been awesome. I don't think I could have I just couldn't swing it, I think. I don't remember.
That was during the Frog Brigade years, and you were like 18 and you were on the bull board. And
yep. That was a little dude.
So Josh, I'm guessing you also skipped Cuddle and Claypool Bucket of Bernie Brains show in Portland, right?
Yeah, I think he missed that one.
Yep, I missed all those. I was finishing my degree. I couldn't run away.
All right, I'm getting off this podcast. I quit.
I know. I'm
Josh failed me.
No, I don't want Soya to find out that I prioritized my real life over Primus or Les Claypool at one point. Don't tell these stories.
But, man, dude, it's some good stuff.
I know, and all these good people.
But since it's going to be close to 420 when this airs, I've got a great 420 story for you guys.
Please.
Okay, it was 2002, I think, and the Frog Brigade was playing at the Municipal Auditorium, I think, in Eureka.
Good Lord. We did that on the Naga.
On 420. Okay. And so at the time, I was like, I hate 420. It's so stupid. People are acting like idiots and 420, man. I was like, this is just stupid. I'm not going to smoke pot because I'm just going to be anti and not smoke pot. So I went to this show and I kind of hung around the theater, watched sound check, hung out backstage with the guys. And then, Vinyl was playing. Vinyl was opening. And then
nice.
Merv, I think, or no, Deadweight. I can't remember. But I was watching, we kind of hung out all day and I was watching Vinyl from side stage and taking photos. Les came up behind me and he's like, you want to smoke some pot? And I was like, yeah. So we did. And then it was a very interesting evening.
Yeah.
But it was funny because, I was like all anti. And then like, yeah, I could smoke some pot.
When Les says you want to smoke some pot, I guess you say, sure.
Les just
says you want a rubber chicken up your butt. Let's go.
Yeah, you just don't say no.
I wasn't really wanting to do that, but man, Les just asked me to put a rubber chicken.
Yeah, and I hadn't known him.
I'm going to go do it
very, very well at that point. So I was just like, I cannot say no to him. Yeah. So that was pretty funny. It was Eureka on 420 is an interesting place.
Eureka is awesome, man.
Yeah,
even not on 420. Okay, that's good to know that it's awesome. The other 364 days of the year. I think I've only been there once, but it was a cool little place.
It's very cool. They have some really cool paintings on the outside of the venue, and I think that's on my website too. I've got some shots of the outside of the venue and fans and.
Something tells me that
was a really fun show.
Something tells me that's one of the only stories you can actually share with us in good conscience.
Well, yeah, probably. I don't know. What's the statute of limitations on this kind of thing?
That's a great question.
15 minutes.
There you go.
The only other thing I can remember when I was touring with those guys, I never saw them do like hard drugs or anything like that. They
don't do hard drugs, Carla. Come on. They're like normal, fun, drinking, smoking dudes. They're not like out of control druggies. Come on.
No, not at all. And none of the guys that they played with were that way either.
Yeah.
But I do remember a night with somebody had a tank of nitrous and there were some balloons.
Oh, bummer. Weird. Oh.
And so
bummer.
That wasn't so bad. I have never done that before, but it was
look through Jay Blakesbird's
for about
book.
30 seconds.
Yeah.
But no, those guys are pretty straight for, rock and roll guys. The balloon-filled bus was in Columbus, Ohio. Uh-huh. I think the same night that Adrian Belew played with them.
Oh, nice.
Damn it. I wish I would have got to met Adrian Belew. Les called me when they were doing that session at his house, and I was on tour with Sheryl Crow at the time, and I was not able to make it. And he's like, come on, dude. Danny Carey, Adrian Belew are coming to my house, dude. Come on, dude. You got to be assistant. I was like, I was just like choking myself, just like, fuck.
Yeah.
I had to go, do my schedule.
Everybody's got to have a day job.
Yes, I have a day job.
I was at the Silver Anniversary Extravaganza, just like you were. I've seen really great photos of that night on your website. And the thing is that, I think that the majority of the people there were looking forward to Primus coming, third. But in my case, my favorite moment of the entire night was, watching Les, Kehoe, and Skerritt doing Buzzers of Green Hill, which is one of my all-time favorite songs from any side project from Les. So in your case, what was your favorite band that night? Primus, Delirium, or Twang?
Oh boy, that's a hard one. Because they're all so different. It's hard to really say which one is better or which one I liked more. I mean, they all have such different sounds, and I can't say which was my favorite. But
I think it's more important to say that you got to see all of those in one night and not have to choose which one is better or worse.
Yeah, there you go.
It's like you got to see all of that in one night,
That's a pretty great experience.
There is no, way better, way worse, boom.
Yeah.
You got to see all three in one night.
Yeah.
And plus that, when I'm shooting, I'm just so enthralled with shooting that, everything that goes on around me is just a bonus. Like I said, they're all so different, and it's hard to say which one was my favorite because they're all my favorite. When I look at a
that's
photo,
what I was saying.
When I look at a photo, I think, that was a great song or that was a great moment. Right. But, as far as the whole bands are concerned, it's like, it's hard for me to choose a favorite. Same thing with songs, I can't choose a favorite song.
And what was it like for you to see Beanpole back in 2018?
Oh, Beanpole was awesome.
Yeah.
They pretty much stole the show, I thought. They opened, but they were so good. I was like, this is going to be a great night. It's off to a great start. It's going to be a great night. Yeah, Beanpole was amazing. I had never seen.
It was hilarious at the Fillmore, right?
Yes. And I had never seen him. And so nobody's ever seen him, right?
Prior to that, they did a show in 1997 at Bottom of the Hill opening for Primus.
I was there.
Wow.
I was not there.
I was there.
So I was. Of course. Yeah.
That was hilarious. They are hilarious.
They are hilarious.
Yeah.
And they look good on camera.
Man, Carla, I'm going to send you a picture of Lur came out on the Delirium at New Year's that night when Beanpole played, and he did Larry Garcia.
Yeah.
He put the wig and the beard on, and I have a picture of him backstage where he's doing the arm in the air with his guitar, like the Jerry pose.
Oh my God.
Dude, I have this picture that's so fucking funny. Oh my God.
That's phenomenal.
Well, see, you're more of a photographer than I am because you got
just iPhone stupid stuff, just funny to capture the moment,
iPhones are getting so good with the camera.
Oh yeah, of course.
It's it's almost like concert photography, pro concert photography.
No, you are obsolete, Carla. You're done.
I know.
After this interview, you're done. You're
and
you're ended.
I want to buy a new camera because the camera that I have is about 10 years old, and it's hard now because when I first started shooting, cameras were not allowed in venues unless you had a PhotoPass.
Yeah.
And now everybody's got a camera on their phone, and the iPhone cameras are so good that, a lot of people in the audience are getting really good shots. And like, do we even need professional photographers anymore? So that's my dilemma right now. So I'm trying to decide whether or not to invest in new equipment.
I vote yes, because I know you're going to take better pictures than me and 99% of other people.
Standing in the crowd with their iPhone.
Yep.
Yeah.
Getting jostled around.
No, so I am not going to go in the pit with my iPhone with a,
Right on. Even though that camera's great, if you have the better camera, you're going to get the shot.
Oh, yeah.
And as we touched on earlier, the moments when to get that shot, not just like hold your phone up and go, woohoo.
Right.
There's less. It's like, no, dude, I know exactly when to
people doing this right in front of the camera.
I could take 1,000 photos right now because I know that's the spot. And I'm going to go through those 1,000 photos and find the best one.
Right.
And that takes a long time, Shooting is so much fun and being in the moment is so much fun. And then when you come home to go through and edit and choose which photos. I mean, I don't know. I take a million photos when I shoot, and going through them afterwards is like drudgery. But every once in a while, I'll find that one that really sparks.
Totally. Yeah, totally. It's the same as when like Jay Blakesberg did hard, film photos, He took Primus photos and did 20 rolls of Primus over one, evening of the show. And he had to go through with that little magnifying glass when you look over the sheets, and like I was there at his shop a couple times because we did so many shoots at his place, and he's like going over them. It's like this one, and they're like Sharpie marking. Which one's this? Les likes this one. Dad, Laura likes that one. It's like different. Now it's like you have like 5,000 photos on digital. Just go delete.
Right, exactly. And you have to choose which ones you think people are going to like and the band is going to like. And, sometimes, like I said before, the shots that I think are just kind of, okay, whatever, are the ones that the fans really seem to like.
Yeah. I'm going to hold up one that I really liked that I bought from you many years ago when you were fundraising. Carla was doing some fundraising, and I think you said you liked this shot, but this one of Larry at that Central Point show.
Oh, yes.
It's going to glare, but he looks angelic.
I do like that shot.
Oh, yeah.
Rad shot.
Yes. Jay's in the background there. It's hard to see, but but that's a great shot of Larry. He looks divine.
That's really cool.
Yeah. Oh, Larry is so fun to shoot. Especially when his hair is not in his face. But even when his hair is in his face.
Good luck with that one.
Yeah.
It's good. But I took some shots at an outdoor venue. I think it was when Primus played with Mastodon.
Uh-huh.
That was under natural light outdoors. And I got some shots of Lur that are just dreamy. Like he's got this natural light, but he's framed with the backlight, and his hair is like glowing.
Uh-huh.
And
he's definitely the Peter Brady of Primus.
Oh, yes. Yeah. He is incredibly photogenic, and it's just strange because I'm like, he just looks so great in his photographs. He looks like a rock star, even though he's the most unassuming dude.
Yeah, it's amazing because, on stage, he totally looks like a rock star. And then off stage, he's just like a dude. And, Tim Alexander, same. I mean, when he plays, it's actually hard to get good shots of Tim.
But you've gotten some really great shots of Tim over the years.
Well, I've been trying. First of all, he's further back. There's, with every drummer, there's shit in front of his face and
That's my fault.
Well, I blame you. And plus that, he always looks really zen when he plays.
He is.
And
definitely zen.
The other, it was a while back, he wanted some shots for something. He asked me for some shots that showed action and energy and action. And I couldn't find a shot that he liked because he thought that he looked boring. All of the shots that I took of him.
Carla, you have mentioned, Buckethead. We've talked about Larry, but I'm guessing that Enor also made a big impression on you because there's actually a footnote at your website at one of the Frog Brigade shows, and it says, Enor is beautiful.
Yes, he is. He is. I mean, especially with the long dreads, and he's like 6'7" or something. I don't know. He's super fucking tall.
Very tall.
He looks great on camera. He is beautiful on camera. And, so I took a lot of shots of Enor just because he was so photogenic.
Mm-hmm. That makes sense. Yeah. You find a good subject.
Guy. And he didn't mind my, telling him that he looked sexy and stuff like that.
No, that's a nice little ego boost. He's like, thanks, Carla. I appreciate that. That feels good.
It's not bad.
Yeah, it's not bad at all. Well, you were talking about Tim, and you have had a chance at various gigs to photograph Brain. Now, that's a guy that'll give you a pose, right? He'll give you something behind the kit, right?
Yeah, no, that guy has energy, and he. Although I didn't get to take very many shots of him behind the scenes, but behind the kit, I mean, he's an animal.
Yeah,
and he's really fun to shoot.
So, because you're looking, like you said, you're looking for action with Herb, but we've talked on this podcast so much about his economy of motion, but also how zen and relaxed he is when he plays. Even though he's hitting all these precise notes and it sounds like he's smashing stuff, he kind of looks bored while he's doing it, I guess. But Brain is, he's doing it, He's really getting into it.
Yeah, it's the facial expressions, I think, that are different. Like Tim just always looks so calm and so zen when he plays. And then, he says, well, I want a shot of me. I want an action shot. And I'm like, well, smile or grimace.
That's what sells it.
Something.
Brain is really part of Brain. He structures what you see is his arms are flying and he's posing and he's crashing the cymbals, and it's all part of the game, Yep. Where Tim is like, I am focused zen on what I'm playing.
Absolutely.
And he doesn't care about what he looks like in a sense.
It's true. It's really true because, I've shot him a lot, and, he's always kind of like, I look boring in shots. And then, I shot Jay Lane, who has great facial expressions and motion and energy when he plays.
Yeah.
And I talked to him after a show one time, and he's like, so how do I look good for photos? Because I see photos of myself and I've always got my mouth hanging open, or I look goofy or dumb or dorky or whatever. And I said, dude, your job is to rock the fuck out. My job is to capture that. Don't worry about a camera lens looking at you.
Yeah.
Just do your thing. And, that's your job. I'll do my job. If I don't get good pictures, it's probably my fault.
Mm-hmm.
So
that makes sense.
Different people are so different.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, I didn't know that about Brain, that's all part of not the act, but he's being theatrical. Like he calculated that. Okay. So
Tim does not do that. He just plays precisely and makes sure that everything is correct.
Yeah.
And his calm, centered, what do you call it? Not Buddhist, but he is just like
chi
there in the cockpit with the drums around him.
Yeah.
And he is perfectly playing everything every time. And Carla, when he says, capture me rocking, it's like, he doesn't do that anymore.
I know, right?
He just sits there and just goes, boom, this is how it goes, man. It's incredible to watch. I'm not.
It really is, because he's like in the zone.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm hoping that sometime in the near future I can get some good photos of him rocking out. Maybe I can talk to him beforehand and tell him to make some faces for me. I don't know.
Yeah. Coach him up.
It's like, it's amazing. It's like he came out of the womb playing drums. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's the impression I get when I watch him play.
Yeah.
It's like everything is just so smooth and so, harmonically perfect, and And he just doesn't, it's like it's in his lizard brain.
Yeah.
He's got a deep chord connection with drums and his soul, you know?
Yeah.
And you see that when he just sits there and plays and people go, oh, he just sits there. It's like, dude, watch.
Yeah.
That dude has got like a deep, deep sense of what's going on, you know, with what he's playing. You know, it's really impressive.
Absolutely.
You know?
Possibly my very favorite drummer.
Well, there you
for
go.
that reason.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's special. I mean, it doesn't translate to still images, but when you're listening...
It's hard to get it to translate to still images.
Yeah. I'm curious about a couple guys who must be really fun to photograph, and that would be Kehoe and Merv.
Oh, my God, yes. Oh, my God. They are so much fun. I totally miss Merv shows because there's always something going... All those guys are just amazing to watch and amazing to listen to and amazing to photograph. Yeah. And they're always, you know, making funny faces and doing crazy shit. And
Merv is ridiculous.
Merv can mug like nobody's
ridiculous. Business. And I remember a show a long time ago at Slim's where they dressed up like old people.
They always did that with the Merv. Yeah.
I don't remember what year it was, but I have the shoot.
Okay.
Yeah, and they did the whole old man thing where they dressed up in like old man clothes and came out in walkers and
and
that was hilarious. And now it's funny because, you know, like we are old.
They're getting there. They can still do it on stage. They just need Advil afterwards. Maybe beforehand just to ward it off, you know?
Geritol.
Right.
Maybe a little bit of Metamucil for good measure, just to be safe.
Cover the bases, man.
That's right. Well, thank you, because I'm going to be 40 soon, so this is good advice for me. I'm very.
You're going to be 40 soon?
Yeah, in 3 weeks.
Frankie is turning 21 next week.
Yeah, Frankie's going to have his first legal alcohol. We're gonna get him drunk on air. It's going to be great.
Well, yeah, I'm older than all of you guys.
No, you're not.
Probably.
I'm 52.
I'm 53.
Damn it!
Duh, she got you.
Oh, you guys are all kids.
I bought the Primus demo from Les Claypool.
I'll get off your lawn.
Okay.
Well, I'm
going to try to trump you right now.
One of the last thought I had in mind was you really bring a lot of energy to this, Carla, and I really appreciate it. And one of the memories I'll always treasure of Primus shows was the Central Point show about a month after Vegas when you guys came up.
Oh, in Oregon, yeah.
Yeah, and we're just talking, having a good time, and the show starts, and at some point you went, I'm going in, and you disappeared, and you went and took your photos and did your thing, and you just looked so excited to do it, even though you'd been doing it for so long. And then you came back out and went, I got some good ones, and then we just went on with our evening and had a great time. Always remember that. I can see Primus 20 times and still love it. Carla can see him 1,000 times and still love it too. So that just filled me with happiness.
Well, that's what keeps me going. You know, I love the music.
Yeah.
And like I said, I really only shoot shows that I want to see and hear. I haven't really become a, you know, full-time professional photographer because, you know, that means that I would have to shoot shows that I don't really know or care about, and that would make it more like a job. Keeping it close to my heart is the most important thing for me.
You got to stay true to the metal.
Well, thanks, Carla. I really appreciate you talking to us. And
thank you so much, Carla.
And wildlupin.com, you can find all kinds of live concert photos, even a few backstage ones. If you're nice enough, she'll sell you a print. Maybe. Ooh. I don't know. I made that up.
Yes, I will.
Oh, there you go.
Awesome.
Good.
Thank you, Carla.
Thank you, guys.